Glenn, welcome to Sponsorship Unpacked again.
Yep, we're back for another week.
Another week. We're recording this on May 19, 2025. It's a big busy period for us, and I thought today we'd unpack a little bit more about what it takes to succeed in selling sponsorship, in achieving a sponsorship result, and delving a little bit deeper into the numbers. So you're obviously somebody who daily is delving deeply into the conversations and the outreach and the cold calling and the pounding on the pavement and those sort of things with our team. So you're sort of leading it up. Um, I know how hard you work to try and achieve the results you do. So, mate, I'd love to hear a little bit more about and delve a little bit deeper and unpack a bit more what you feel like it takes to succeed with some of our clients.
Yeah, and it's probably pretty common thing for us to say when we talk about sponsorship is it does become a bit of a numbers game. Like there's not a silver bullet. There's not a hang on, if you put this and this and this formula together, you're guaranteed success. So it does become a numbers game. The thing that we've learned over time though is how do you stack those numbers in your benefit in your to your benefit, where we try and be a little bit more poignant, or we've got a strategy that we're following,
Mm.
and sometimes those strategies work and we keep going down the track, and sometimes you got to call it, and sometimes the strategy doesn't work and you go, well, that was worth a go, but it hasn't worked. I've learned something, and yeah, off on the next thing. So yeah, it's a definitely a complex environment, but yeah, there's a few tips I think we can give that are going to help everyone just make it a little bit easier.
Yeah, agreed. So interesting. Before we actually delve into that, so I had a conversation with somebody a little earlier today, an NPL one club based out of a regional New South Wales town, and they said to me, "There's a couple of things that sort of stood out. One is currently at around about $80,000 in sponsorship revenue, not insignificant for a relatively, well, probably a top end community club, but they're looking to achieve $200,000 to start being able to invest more heavily in players. Common thread. So I asked a little bit more. They talked about having 300 contacts on their database at the moment, or at least 300 businesses who they feel like they would want to reach out to, but they don't know how or can't reach out to them. Firstly, my gut feeling says that's actually a pretty low number to achieve the uplift in sponsorship they do want to, and which is why they're speaking to us, but they do want to achieve. And secondly, one thing they did say was that they only had one business owner on their committee, which often is the way that sponsors come in to a sports organisation, right? So they'll come in through members of the committee or the board or whatever it is. So they only had one, and it was him. So, and it's one of those interesting things where when you talk about the numbers and being a numbers game, then that's exactly what we're talking about. We want to try and help those types of organizations. And what we talk about today is obviously what we do and how we go about it. You daily for some of our larger clients, but certainly the philosophy is what a smaller community club can also take on board as well.
Definitely. I mean, the reality is the reason we say it's a numbers game is because we're asking in a sponsorship environment, we're asking for a business to hand over cash, and they've got to see benefit out of it. And it's we can say it's a difficult economic environment where that's not easy to necessarily have people hand over. But if you can get both the numbers right and then the benefits right, then yeah, we're definitely stacking those things in our favour, which is some of the tips we can provide.
So, mate, let's get to the point now. I'm sure people want to hear a little bit about what it is that we do and how you go about things. And I know you've done a bit of research and just drawn out a category from one of our clients at the moment. Do you want to go through how, I guess, you process things and how you go about targeting and sort of getting to the point of, in this case, which was a really good partnership that you developed?
Beautiful. So we've got a client, quite a big client. In this case, it's a national environment that we're working in. So this client brings people from all around Australia. So whilst that's not quite the same as a community club, it's very geographical, which we've spoken in the past, but in this case, it's a national, but I think the philosophy still works. There's two examples just for this business, and we've been working with these guys for over a year. When I talk about numbers, we've sent over 5,000 emails for this and 5,000 contacts out. So that's a lot, but we've also been working hard over a long period of time. So don't let that blow your socks off. It is a lot, but it's a national business or a national organisation that we're working with. So there's two areas I probably can give you a demo of or explain. It's all about, and we'll talk more about this over time, Andy, I'm sure, but it's about creating a strategy, as we spoke earlier, of going, given this and this and this scenario, I think that this category is something we should go and search on. So two examples that I have, one of them is beauty. So with this organisation that we're working for, they have probably 65% female in their market. So and in those there's a lot of sports that are female based. So putting one and one together, we've gone down the beauty angle of personal care and beauty. So we ended up sending over get my data up here, over
You're
250.
reaching out to a large number of people, I'm assuming.
Say again, mate.
You're reaching out to a large number of people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we've gone to over 250 prospects there. So 250 businesses that are all in this space. So the beauty, the personal care, the things like sunscreens and lip balms and a whole lot of beauty products that I probably don't understand. But anyway, we know what sort of businesses to reach out to. We ended up with 9 hot leads. Which is not too bad. And
so 9 people, basically 9 people have said, hey, like, should we be really interested in a conversation about this?
Absolutely, and they're looking for a bit more information, and then it gets down into tin tacks on, okay, what does once we get over the hurdle of, is this opportunity right for us, then we get down into the conversation around packages and engagement and benefits on their side and benefits on our side.
Yep.
So nine hot leads, and we ended up, Andy, with one pretty significant prospects that turned into an actual contract, which was amazing.
Great, and that was a a mid 5-figure type of agreement, which is a fantastic result, and a company who saw it the opportunity to connect in basically with their demographic and who their audience that they're looking to sell to. So I feel like as a result that's a great result for our client. And you've got another one that you wanted to chat through as well.
Yeah, another category. This one's is interesting. So it's a national brand or national organisation, and so what we looked at, it's also an older demographic. So what we looked at is, we just think that group is set up for getting help from the finance industry, whether it's mortgage brokers or financial advisors or crypto or crypto type platforms, superannuation, etc. It just seemed completely made a lot of sense. Now we've gone to the finance industry is a big industry, and there's a lot of potential areas. So we ended up going to over 800 leads in that area. We've had more than a dozen hot leads or people interested. Now this is as of this moment, it's a live conversation. I've got a couple of those leads that are really interested. They really see the benefit. They're assessing internally and due to come back to me soon, hopefully with a positive shortly.
Okay, so really what we're saying is that shows the volume, and we're talking higher numbers here. So a community club will often be talking maybe slightly lower numbers. We're talking a national environment here where we're not, we've got an event in a location and we're talking to people nationally because the actual participants are coming into this event. So it's not like a community club or a community league, for example, or a community-based event where that's in a location and we're talking to businesses primarily, probably 80, 90% of businesses are around that location. We're talking about having to fish in a really big pond. So that the sheer volume of work that's done to get that number of leads through is pretty significant. So, firstly, well done on getting that done, but it does show that there is a need or it is a numbers game like we talked about,
Yeah.
and you do need to do the hard work, because what we often see is a lot of people will go, well, I've gone to 50 people and no one's responded, so what do we do now? Partly it's because it is hard work to try and connect with people, to try and find the right type of businesses, but it is almost, what is the outcome we're trying to achieve? Let's work through the strategy, and then let's get out and speak to as many people as possible.
Yeah, so if I break it down quickly for a community club, just take the numbers down, as you said, but you look at the strategy and say, I think this community is great for or perfect opportunity for a real estate or a mortgage broker or a cafe, whatever it might be. And per my two examples, there are ones that you go reasonably hard at, but you decide how much to go and knock on, how many doors to knock on, and looking for a result. And sometimes it may not work. There are some businesses you think are right, or some categories you think are right, and it's just not resonating. There's others that you just completely convince, and you go the extra mile. So you do a few more leads just to find that one person where all the moons align, they're interested and capable, and you make that final connection.
Brilliant. Glenn, as always, thanks for your insight, and keep up the good work, mate, and we look forward to chatting again next week.
Good stuff. Catch ya.